And I'm going to remember to unmute my mic because apparently I had that wrong as well. Okay, let's start that again, shall we? I'm having an afternoon. Trying to get everything working, and nope, nothing's happening whatsoever. My machine decided to crash on me like 10 minutes before going live, so I had to do a reset, and all other stuff went on top of that. Once I got it working again, my Stream Deck is refusing to talk to OBS, so trying to change between scenes is a little bit of a nightmare. And then when I clicked the Go Live button, StreamYard just kept on saying, nope, Twitch does not like your title. It doesn't like your title. It's not going to do anything. Breathe. But we're going to make an afternoon of it. We're going to have some fun today. What we're going to be doing is I'm going to be getting into open source, something that I've been wanting to do for an age. Every time I write a static web app, I always have to copy over the code for the authentication for Blazor and for .NET Functions. And it's been annoying me for long enough now, so I'm going to write a NuGet package that does this for me, and so other people can use it and get started with more ease. Bit of a learning curve for me. This is the first time I've ever done anything with NuGet. So to help me with that, I have Eric here with me.
Hello.
You might know him as Thindal, but do I pronounce it right? Is it Thindal or Thindal?
Thindal.
Thindal.
Yeah, close
you may
enough.
Know him. Yeah, close enough. So yeah. Thindal has an awesome channel on Twitch. He streams really regularly. Seriously, go check it out. I'm going to have to get your link to your channel and stick it somewhere. Can you drop it in the comments?
I can try. Let's see here.
And then people can go and to your channel and learn lots of stuff and have fun. You mainly stream in the evening, right?
Evening Swedish time, yeah. So
evening Swedish time.
At 7:30.
Okay.
So, and right now it's 14:30, so that means 5 hours from now.
Yeah. Well, we'll try not to keep you too long then, so that you can get ready for your stream.
Not today. Not today.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
And we'll try not to take too long to make sure that my machine doesn't decide to die again. But before we get started, let's have a look at the chat room. We have Jimmy there, who's obviously going to enjoy some NuGet.
Should we start out with a fight? Is it NuGet or NuGet?
I think efficiently it's NuGet, but it's always going to be NuGet for me.
For me, it's the NuGet repository that contains nuggets. So I'm in the middle there.
Okay, fair enough.
The service is NuGet, and the code on there is a nugget.
Right, okay. I can go with that one. And yeah, we have Jess here with, I am terrible at Swedish. I've been learning for so long and I'm still terrible. Jess is here with Mojan. Have I said that about right there, Thindal?
Mojan.
Mojan, thank you.
It's not an actual word. It's her pet name or nickname for her mother.
That makes it a real word for me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And Jimmy just thinks that everybody's happy with Nuggles.
Nuggies.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think
know Nuggies, right?
We've started an argument on the other side of Sweden now, because, you know, we have Jess saying that, yeah, true, it's a made-up word. Yeah. And we have Jimmy saying his standard Jimmy thing about a certain side of a certain country.
Yeah. I can only concur with Jimmy. Everything is the Danes' fault.
I'm not getting into this at all in any way, shape, or form. I choose life.
It's just sibling rivalry. We love them as long as we can shit talk them.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Right. So before I fall over from heat exhaustion in my studio, then, because I don't know what it's like where you are, but it's like 28 degrees here, and I'm on the third floor of a house.
25 outside in the shade.
Yeah,
and
it makes it a bit
warm. My room is in the sun, so it is warm.
So we have the new project we're going to make. Before we start, I'm going to share the NuGet repository. The new. I cannot. No, I'm sorry. It's just NuGet. It's always just NuGet.
Yeah, go for NuGet. Go for NuGet. It's an ongoing fight.
So I started a new organization on GitHub yesterday. And any open source stuff that I do, I'm going to put in this organization. So it's not going to be in my own repository. It's not going to be in my Stacy Cash Talks repository. It's all going to be in its own, explicitly, this is where anything I do that's open source is going to live repository. One of the reasons why I've done this is because we're going to need secrets in order to do what we want to do today. And rather than add that secret to every single repository that I need to, which is what happens if you do it on a personal account, if you put this on a public repo, which is open source, so it's going to be public, and you put it under an organization, you can actually create secrets that you can share between each one of your repositories.
I did not know this.
So I can really recommend this. I learned this when I was writing one of my talks, and I needed to kill the repository and recreate it constantly. And I was getting fed up with adding these things all the time. And I came across these shared secrets and shared variables. And yeah, it works fantastically. I think actually shared variables isn't a thing. Shared variables you have to pay for, but shared secrets you can use.
Awesome. So I just learned a thing, and I will now create an organization.
Awesome. Yeah. It's I can highly recommend it, and you don't have to pay for an organization. It's not something that costs you money, but it's quite a useful thing. So that's what I've dropped onto here. The README is just a little bit not great at the moment because I only created this in a rush last night. We're not going to be touching that today, but I will be updating that at some point. And we have a nice empty repository.
Here's a hot tip of what I do with my READMEs. I write the code, then I enter the README file, and I hit up GitHub Copilot. Write me a README.
Ooh.
And it does a surprisingly good job.
I'm going to give that one a try then.
Yeah, sometimes it, just invents things. So as usual with Copilot, you read it. But it figures out the functions that you're exposing, the classes. It actually figures out your intent. It is insanely good.
Oh, I love it. I'm going to be giving that one a try then. I'll get there eventually. Yeah, so let's add some code to it, shall we?
Sounds good.
So I have, especially for Jimmy, dark mode. I don't know if it's going to stay dark mode when I actually get through to the IDE, but Jimmy can be happy with the dark mode for now. If it does go to light mode, just as a warning, I do expect some kind of comment along my eyes, if it happens.
Yeah. I prefer dark mode as well. And that is even though I have two big studio lights shining in my face right now.
I'm kind of in the middle. Sometimes I like dark mode. Sometimes I like light mode. It depends on how tired I am, because I prefer the contrast of light mode when I'm tired. And if I'm not tired, then dark mode's fine.
I'm always tired.
I'm always fatigued, but I don't know if that's the same thing or not.
No.
Electrolytes. I have to keep them up, especially in this
caffeine.
Heat. I wish. Okay, I need a good name for this. Now, I was just going to go for...
the name of the project does not have to be the same as the name of the NuGet package.
Oh, that's good at least.
Yeah.
But I wanted...
said something that contradicted myself, because I just said NuGet package, not a NuGet package.
Good. It's not only me. I like it when we can do this.
Yeah.
So I'm going to call it SWA Auth because it's nice and short. It's, Azure Static Web App authentication is kind of a bit long, and it's also authorization. So SWA Auth is nice and short.
Yeah.
And it's still descriptive. Now, we just had a discussion about this because I tried to create the wrong type of project when I did a dry one with Eric just recently. I'm making this a .NET Standard 2.1 project, but if I can remember the syntax, I'm going to turn on all languages. And I have to thank Jimmy for this, because I didn't realize that you could do .NET Standard with the latest syntax.
A lang version in the project file.
Yes, a lang
It also
version
works with
latest,
2.0.
isn't it?
Yeah, you can set it to latest or just the version number.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I prefer generally Net Standard 2.0 because that works with framework, but you know how I am with framework. I'm not sure if that will work on functions and Blazor though, so don't.
Yeah, it's. I think as it's going to be not even isolated functions soon, because isolated functions are going. Sorry, not isolated, non-isolated functions. Classic .NET functions are going out of support soon, so it's only going to be isolated functions, and it's Blazor. So I don't think we have to worry about framework.
No.
But thank you for the point of that. I'll bear that in mind in the future.
Yeah, if you want code to work with framework as well, it needs to be 2.0 because 2.1 is no longer standard, which I have no idea what they were thinking. 2.1 works with good old UVP and stuff as well, but not framework.
Right.
There. That's my aside.
And it's dark mode, so Jimmy's not blind. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing.
Could you scroll in the text size one step? I think you're on, one more. Perfect.
Yeah.
Way easier to read since we're streaming at 720.
Boo. I need to get a proper license to stream at 1080. It is kind of annoying. So then we want, is it lang?
Lang
look
version.
at that. Lang version. Yeah. And we want, whoops. With capital?
Don't think it matters.
Okay.
And if it does, it'll break.
Right. That succeeded. That's good then. Yeah. Let's do some cleanup here. Let's get rid of this. And what I want to do, I do have all of this code, because like I say, I use it regularly. But I'm just going to open it up on another screen, and I'm going to copy the stuff across as we go. Also talk about what I'm doing here so you get an idea what this project is going to be doing. First of all, I want 2 folders. So let's add a couple of folders here. We want client. And we want, ow, we don't want to hit our earphones on the microphone.
That never happens. Well, I don't hit my headphones, but I have my microphone right here, and I tend to hit it with my hand when I do this.
First, in order to hear it properly in my head, I have to have it down a little bit low.
Okay.
But yeah, because I've got 2 monitors in front of me, sometimes I kind of like look around the side and then forget there's a microphone next to me. So what we're going to be doing, if I can remember which one of my repositories, let me do this on screen. So in one of my repositories, in many of my repositories, I have lots of SWA.
That's the one we're in, I think.
That's the one I'm in. Oh, seriously, I am not awake today. This one got it? So, see, every time I create a project, a solution, I keep on adding this project, and I just want to copy some things across from here. So first one I want to bring across is actually my models. So authentication data. For those that don't know how static web apps work, if you have a static web app, you always get authentication out of the box. And it's based on, I believe, Easy Auth from Microsoft. And that uses a client principal, which you can get from a specific endpoint. And to demonstrate this, we can come to stacyclouds.net. Let that one finish loading up. And if we go to .auth/me, this, you can see that I'm not logged in. And if I go to login/GitHub, and I authorize my account, and then I go back to that
I think you wrote a comma.
I was one key across on both times.
It happens.
Now you can see that we have this client principal. So this is available for all users who want to log in. So how you logged in, your user ID, which this isn't doxing myself because this user ID is only valid for this static web app. If I was to delete my website and recreate it, it would be a different ID. And then how I've logged in and the roles that you get back. And you can see I've been playing about with the roles here because
I was thinking of that one.
It's Stacy herself. That is my user role.
Yeah.
So that is this authentication data, which contains a client principal. And that client principal has two things. We have our identity provider. So the things we've just looked at.
Could you zoom in again?
I can zoom in again. Thank you. You're
Awesome.
keeping me honest here. We have all the things that we just looked at: identity provider, user ID, details, and user roles. And we also have these claims. These are only used when you have custom authentication. So if you're using a standard tier, which I'm not going to be talking about today, but it's something that I need to add to this NuGet package to make sure that it works. So these are the first things that I'm going to do. And okay, that shouldn't have done that. My machine is so not happy. What I'm going to do is copy everything I need for our models. And then we're going to make them. So I guess I also need to add here a models / authentication data. And then we can just do a bit of cleanup. I really love that Shift F2 thing. I learned that from Jimmy. Shift F2 is fantastic for quickly creating things.
I did not know about that one. No. Do you want a small tip?
Yeah.
Put all of the classes in the same file, and then use what's called move types to files.
That can work too.
So it generates the files with one class each.
I do love the Windows clipboard.
I've never used this. You'll have to show me how that works afterwards.
Windows V.
Windows B.
Windows V. The first time you press it, it's going to say, do you want to turn on clipboard history?
Oh.
And after that point, you get clipboard history, so you can just copy everything you need rather than going backwards and forwards.
I love this.
And then we'll move that into its own class. And the other one, I want to make these records, but I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to do that later. Right now, I just want to get it working, and I can sort the rest out at another point. So that is our models. And then we can... What do I need to make this work? I need HTTP. I don't think I need each one of these packages. I think I just need the HTTP abstractions, and I think I need the authorization. So let's bring those across. And do that next. Manage NuGet packages. Install the latest. Say yes to everything, because do we ever read those? And then the abstractions.
I'm working with a customer where I have to read those and list all of the secondary dependencies.
Oh, that's fun. I can see why you need to do that. That's fun. Damn it, this one's needs to be replaced.
Hey, Snobble.
Sorry?
Snobble is in the chat.
Ah.
On Twitch.
Hey, hello there. How are you doing? Yellow. You know what? I'm still going to install this one for now, and I'm going to fix that later. I know that that's outdated, and I know I need to reference something else in my project file. But again, I just want to get this working and then bring stuff across.
Make it work well afterwards.
Yeah, that kind of thing. Okay, so now we can actually have a look at our code. So I want this one first, my state provider. Copyable file, I like this. Static Web App's authentication state provider. And then we are going to replace all of that. And why are you now complaining? All of these things should be there.
Systemnet HTTP. Do you have that as well? Or are we missing that one?
I guess we're missing.
Can use secondary reference, secondary.
Why did it not install the first one? Because I said install, then I said apply.
I do believe you did, yeah.
And it's not installing it. Why are you not installing it?
If you look at the output, you should have something down there.
Oh, that sucks.
It's not compatible with net standard. Oh, crap. So we can't actually do net standard.
So I can't actually do net standard. That's kind of annoying.
Yeah. What is the official guidelines on using out of support versions of .NET for libraries if you want them to be able to be used by people still on old versions? Like, are you always supposed to keep your libraries up to date and demand that everyone that uses them are also on the latest version?
Well, the thing is that you've always got a couple of versions which are supported.
Yeah, the one in the LTS. So you could do 6 now, for example, even though 8 is out.
Net
6.
I want to net
or 8.
6. I'm going to do 8 because I do everything in 8. This 8.0, right?
Yeah, the more numbers you have, the more specific you are. You can actually do 8.0.1 if you really want that version. I wouldn't, but you can. There we go, installed and ready.
Okay, right. Now let's see what we're still going to be missing a load of stuff. Right, configuration I don't care about because I'm not going to be using that. I want to get rid of that. Okay, that one I understand because that one lives elsewhere. And this one, I just want to hard code this one. If I need to add that again later, I will add it. Right, that's good. That gives me everything that I need then. Yay! That's at least solved some issues.
So this code is only for Blazor WASM, right?
This code is only for Blazor WASM. It isn't for any other Blazor because that won't run on a static web app anyway.
Yeah.
And basically the way that it works is it literally goes to that same URL that I just showed you. And because when you go to that URL, this is all running in the browser, so it's going to be using your cookies, so you will get the right data back. So that is how this this one works.
Awesome.
So the next one that I want to do.
I love how, checking if you're logged in is literally checking a public URL for the user information.
Yeah.
Yeah, And if it works, it works. I mean,
Yes.
you just let someone else handle it, right?
Yeah. And then I want these ones bring across as well, because this is how you register it inside of our, your Blazor application. I forgot what I called it, so I just cheated. I'll rename it now.
Yeah. Don't forget to adjust the namespace.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, what this is going to do, when you add static web app authentication, it's going to add authorization call that you need for Blazor to work. And it's going to add our static web apps authentication state provider. Say that 5 times in a row as our authentication state provider. Oh, there we go. One common requirement for using OSS's attribution, i.e. tell the world. So if you want to fulfill that up, I guess I'm going to have to get around to that one at some point then, because I do want to do this right. I'm going to have to tell the world what I'm using.
Well, it will show up in the dependencies on
That's very true.
this package.
I know the guy.
There's one thing that a lot of people miss, and that is that Stack Overflow is by attribution. So you're supposed to have a comment every time you copy or learn. I think learn also falls on that, even if you retype the whole thing from Stack Overflow. You should put a comment there about where you found it.
Yeah.
Don't think a lot of people do that.
No, but I can go with that one.
Yep.
I know a guy who reads all the EULAs and found one saying the password may not be offensive. Who would be offended? Yes, if you're saving the password in a way where you can see it, that ain't right.
Did you know that you're not allowed to use iTunes to develop biological or chemical weapons?
Really?
Nor nuclear. Very important.
Okay.
Not sure how you would, but you're not allowed to.
Well, you've got to have something to listen to while you're doing it.
Yeah.
So where are we? So that is our client side done. Now we just need the other side, which is the API. And the API works in a different way. We only have one file here. We'll copy that one raw. Static web. How tired was I when I wrote this? App and API backwards.
Static web app.
So I want static web app API authentication.
I mean, couldn't it technically be an API app?
Sorry?
Couldn't it technically be an API app?
Why are you dying? What have I done?
You copied it underneath the other stuff, so you have both the original content.
I do.
Or you copied it twice.
I copied it twice, I think.
Yeah, you did.
Okay.
Or pasted it.
And then we do that one. And then we'll fix the namespace. And then we'll make it block. There.
And rename the class. No, you did.
I've renamed the class.
Yeah.
So what this one does for the API, it is ever so slightly different. This is obviously running inside of the static web app, so it can't call the endpoint because it's not got the same headers. But what happens instead in a static web app is when you go through that static web app layer to access your API, this header gets injected, and this just contains your client principal that you can then use elsewhere. This is also really safe because if you try and fake this and put your own header into your request, it will get cleaned by the static web app. So if you try
what happens if I do a custom API call from somewhere else?
You can't.
And inject this. I can't. All right.
No. It's if you have an API which is set up to be used with a static web app. I mean, the one, if you're on the free tier or you're using the managed API, then it only exists inside of your static web app. You don't get to see it outside.
Awesome.
If you're using the standard version, if I remember correctly, if you're using the standard version and you do use your own Azure function, when you register that Azure function as a backend for your static web app, it will stop traffic going to that function from outside of the static web app.
Awesome.
So there's an amount of safety built into this so that you can't do stupid things. Hopefully. While that's done, let's just grab some more from the chat. So some more from Fuel Snubble. Even more important, Stack Overflow is share alike. So if you're using code from Stack Overflow, you're supposed to share your code under the same conditions. I can't argue with that one.
As long as it's not, your entire code base. Like, is it GPL3? That's contagious. If you use GPL3 code, you need to have your entire application under GPL3, which is open source and available.
Yeah. Which is why for this one, I created it with the MIT license. As far as I'm aware, that's kind of the best to use.
Yeah, I use MIT for everything. It's basically do whatever you want, but don't sue me if it explodes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like GPL, but it doesn't have the clause that you need to share your code. But I can go with it. It's like if you're using things from Stack Overflow, then I think giving stuff back, I can't really argue with that one.
No, I can absolutely agree.
As long as it's your code to do. I don't think my boss would like if I put our IP code on Stack Overflow. I don't think they'd appreciate that one. But I don't mind cleaning it and using it, making it a generic, just for the specific thing that we're talking about.
Yeah, if you have a function, you copy it off of Stack Overflow, you modify it to suit your needs. I mean, sharing that specific function is probably fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Oh, I've just noticed that I have a typo in my class name. So this climb.
So we're still missing.
We're still missing that. So where did I put that in my original code? Because it's. I think I did this from when I was first using Static Web App, and I misconstrued how to use this. Call your copyright lawyer. It's still derivatives. Derivatives might be covered, but that is very true, I suppose. Call your copyright. Yes.
Yeah. I am not a lawyer.
Yes, I am not a lawyer, but
yeah,
wonderful acronym.
So yeah, I'm not going to say it. Say it that way.
This is what it is using then. So I'm just going to copy this out and put this into my class and then see where we go from there. It's like I said, I think when I was first writing this, I was using it both for the API and for the client. And then at some point I was kind of like, why am I doing this? For the API, it makes no sense.
Remove the class name in the call as well.
That can be private. That can go. I am going to write some unit tests for this at some point too. Generally, I would write those first. I do try and do that. Don't always manage it, but I do try and do that. But
I don't. I try to write tests, and I usually don't write tests, but I have the ambition to do it. But never do TDD.
The way that I got into TDD was from what's his name, G. Paul Hill on Twitter. He wrote a thread on microspikes. So not a spike as most teams use them of, we need a spike for this, it's going to take up X amount of time. But really, okay, I'm not sure how I'm going to do this. So I am just going to think with the keyboard and I'm going to learn along the way. And at the end of that journey, no matter what happens, I'm going to delete the branch. The
Okay.
only thing I'm taking from this is knowledge.
All right. Yeah, I can agree with that. The issue I have with TDD is I never know what my code is going to look like before I've written it. I don't have an interface ready or anything.
That's why he does a micro. That's what he gets from his microspikes.
Yeah. Yeah. So you learn that and then you write the tests
Yeah.
for it and then use those tests in production, more or less, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's fine. I've done TDD properly once, I think twice, actually. I think the biggest one was with Advent of Code.
Right.
Because then you can really write your tests first because you have the success cases and everything already defined.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I thought that counts, right? Absolutely.
Right? Yeah. I agree, Jimmy.
I think it's the one that I managed to get working. If I go back to my website again, the way that I did it was writing this page, because all of these blog posts are actually hosted on dev.to. Because of course I started to write my website and then didn't complete it because I had a working thing, so the pressure was gone to continue.
Anyway, right?
And I knew what shape I wanted it for the website, and I knew what shape I wanted it for, what shape Dev2 gave it in. And so I could actually write my converters test first. I knew what the input and output, like you say, I knew what my good conditions were.
Mm-hmm.
And so I did this TDD, and I loved it because in 2 hours, I wrote the whole thing, and it worked first time I ran it because I cleared up all of the issues in my tests. And I think if I'd have been doing that trial and error, it would have taken me a lot longer.
Mm-hmm. I can see where you're coming from.
Okay, so this get claims principle that we had to copy in to get this working. I just want to quickly go through this one too before we continue.
Mm-hmm.
When you get those claims, that client principle from the static web app, it always comes with, at least if you're authenticated, it always comes with 2 roles, anonymous and authenticated. Why it comes with anonymous, I don't know, because if I'm authenticated, I'm not anonymous. But to check whether or not we should class somebody as logged in, I strip out the anonymous. And then if I don't have any roles left, you're not logged in. So I just return a new claims principle, and that just means you're not logged in.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I do this conversion here. I'm taking that client principle in and giving a claims identity out, which is what Blazor uses. So it's just going from one to the other to make sure that we can use both my roles, the name identifier and the name inside of our Blazor app. So that's all that does.
Here's a slightly random question. You logged in
Yeah.
with GitHub and you got the Stacy herself role. How did you define or set that role on your GitHub user?
Right, let me show you that one. I'm going to open this in a different screen first because I want to make sure that I'm not doxing myself for anything.
Yeah.
And then I'll bring it across. Where is...
You explaining all this to me wasn't really the point of this stream, but I figured I'd pick your brain when...
Oh, this is fine.
We're
this
actually
is awesome.
here.
How do I change my directory? Switch directory. I love it when they change the Azure portal.
Yeah, that never happens, right?
Okay, so if I go to my settings and my roles.
Does anyone else remember when Azure had like 13 or 14 features and they had that blue portal? And it was so much easier because you didn't have to look for anything. Because
yes, now
they
it's
had
everything,
like
right?
5 things. Yeah. All right, so you have a... Oh, it's set in the static web app.
It's set in the static web app itself. So for the free tier, this is what you have to do. There's a couple of downsides here. One is you can only have 50 users with special roles. So if you need anybody that needs other than just simply authenticated, you're limited to 50.
Yeah, we can identify people anyways, but
you can identify people
just as
anyway, but you can only
random
have
people.
50 people with roles.
Yeah, gotcha.
You have to invite them in this way. So GitHub, what's your user handle?
Thindal TV is my user handle.
Like that?
TV. Because Thindal was taken.
So then I can give you a domain. I can give you Thindal himself. And if I generate that, then you get a link. I send that to you. You log in with that link, and then it activates that role.
Oh, awesome.
The downside is anytime that you need to recreate the application, you also have to recreate every single role.
You wipe all of this.
And yeah, not only do you
You can't export and import it.
No, you can't export and import it. And more than that, that user ID that I was talking about, that's different in every web app. So if I delete this and recreate it, I'm effectively a different user.
Oh. If you use the ID to connect and not the name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you could use the username and the authentication provider together, for example, and use that as your internal ID instead of the user ID.
Yeah. If you do that, it's going to be fine. If you use a user ID, then you have kind of a problem. So that's why for hobby sites, the free tier is fine. But if you're going to do anything that more than that, it's really recommended not to use a hobby site, but to actually use the standard tier, which is only like $8.50 a month. $8.40 a month in euros.
Yeah. That's nothing.
And then use custom authentication, because then you control it. So use something like Auth0. You can still use Entra ID, whatever else. You just have to set it up yourself, and you have to have your own account on that provider as opposed to using Microsoft's account.
But from this side, it works the same. Only I use, for example, Auth.me and Auth0.
Oh yeah, everything else works the same. So you make no changes to your app. You only change the setup of your static web app. And the difference is then the user ID never changes, because that user ID is the external provider's user ID, not an internal one.
Awesome.
So that's where that comes from. Null parameter, I'm going to fix that one later again. What am I missing? Am I still missing something, or can we actually build this and start on the fun stuff?
It looked like it was...
I think it's done.
You didn't have any more errors. Like you found everything. If you do a build...
I can do a build that runs. What I'm also going to do... I'm going to add a static web app to this, so that if anybody downloads a repository, they can run it and test it themselves.
That sounds like a very good idea.
Yeah, but I'm not going to be doing that today.
No.
Because we've been at this now 45 minutes, and I'm still terrified that my machine's about to go pop. So let's push this up and get started. What do you mean create Git repository? Did I create this in the wrong place?
You should be in a Git repository, right? If you go to Solution Explorer, right-click the solution and open in Explorer, you should get the folder.
Where did I create it?
Oh, I never used that terminal.
No, me neither. What the...
Jimmy, we need a open full terminal here for the extension. He just added one of the best features this year to his, not sure which extension, Blossom or Blossom. Oh, there is one for Mats already. Gotcha. He added .NET Watch as a run option directly in Studio. Blossom, right? Is that feature public yet? Or is it still in deb? All right. And I believe that we lost Stacy. It's happened before, and I am 100% certain she will be back soon. If anyone has any questions for someone here, that's awesome, but she'll be here soon. She's having a bit of a bad day with her technology, unfortunately. Let's see, who do we have here? We have Jimmy, we have Fuddesnabel. Do we have Jess still? I'm not sure. And I'm not sure what to talk about.
Guess who's
Here we go. She's back. What happened?
Same as before. Lots of pretty little stuff on the screen, and then absolutely nothing.
Oh,
I'm
but you
gonna
didn't have to reboot at least, so.
I didn't. Well, it only rebooted once at least.
All right. All right. Let's hope it's not corrupted like we ended up with last time.
Yeah.
That would make me cry.
I'm actually wondering if this goes boom again, then I'm going to assume it's a terminal thing. Because it died on the terminal and it died on the terminal before.
So what's in here? This is in a, yeah, we're in a different folder.
I'm in a different folder. Where the hell did I make it?
I don't know. Open in Explorer for the solution.
Oh, damn it. I see where it was created.
And this is when you do a copy paste.
This is where I do a copy paste. Again, no doxing, so this is on another screen. I'm sorry.
You're not running no docs in Studio, by the way.
Sorry?
Bad. You're not running no docs in Studio.
I know, I'm sorry. Wow, there's somebody outside with a car stereo, and I'm not sure they can hear it.
I can't hear anything.
I can hear it over noise-canceling headphones. See, user space.
Yes, I managed to rewrite my default location to my dev drive, but it's trying to write to the dev drive /source every time.
Yes.
And I don't have a source folder on my dev drive, because I'm assuming the whole thing is source. And it auto generates that folder as well. So now I have a source folder on there.
I generally always tell it to use C code because all of my code is on C code. Yay, look at that.
See, and it compiles with the same amount of warnings, so I'm going to assume it's all right.
Me too.
Don't forget to reopen the project in the right place now.
Yeah, I've not got it open yet. I'm going to do that one in a second. Add library. And then push. Okay, this is because of that music outside from someone's car. I cannot think anymore.
I always listen to music when I stream.
I don't mind listening to music when I stream, but it's listening to somebody else's bad music.
Yeah.
And I can't hear it. I can only kind of like semi-hear it, which makes it even worse.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Okay, so that should be pushed up. So we'll go back to GitHub in a second and check that. And we'll just open this up now as well.
Now, here's the question. Do you want to try the README MD with Copilot?
Yeah.
Before we do the NuGet stuff.
Yeah, which actually, we can just do that inside of a code space. And then if it all goes boom, it's not going boom on my machine.
Oh, smart. I have never used code spaces.
They're quite useful.
It's basically Studio Code online, right?
It's basically Studio Code online. The only thing is you have to wait for it to warm up first of all.
Mm-hmm.
So right now I don't have any Copilot because it's just kind of installing all of my extensions.
It's blinking. I can't hear anything from a stereo.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared it's actually coming from my computer and something's just playing and it shouldn't be. But I don't think so. Yeah. It always hates that one.
While this is loading, we can bring up the solution because that's not going to be touching the README file.
How's your eyes, Jimmy?
Light mode, schmack, right in your face. It's
shaking with
novel.
anger off. I love it.
Yeah. It's both.
Yeah, it is both. It is both authentication, authorization, and both.
Yeah.
That's why I cut it short to auth. And yes, bright light.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Look, I tried to do dark mode and my computer crashed on me. Do you want me to do that again?
Nah. Right-click the project and go to Properties. This is a simple way. There's also a way to create a new spec file, but there's no good reason, really. Open up Package on the left side there.
Yeah.
And here's everything that we will need. It's
okay.
zoomable. It is zoomable, so go in a step or two.
What do you want me to do, sorry?
Control scroll.
Control
to
scroll.
zoom in a bit.
Right.
There we go. Perfect. All right, so under package, we want to produce a package, right?
Yeah.
But do we want to do it on every build, or not? Let's generate a package manually.
Yeah,
right?
I think manual is good.
Yep. So we have an assembly name. That's a package ID. That's not the title, the readable name, but it is what it's called, and it has to be unique.
Yeah, which should be unique.
Yeah. So we need a title. So that would be Static Web App Authorization, Authentication.
Oh, having to write that in American spelling is it feels
for dummies, or not for dummies, but yeah. So we have package version here. That reads from the version of the DLL right now. I usually set that manually.
Okay.
But you can get that from, I think it's under application as well. Don't quote me on that. No, there's a version setting somewhere. Might be that you need to go into the actual project file to get it. I've got that set manually. That has to be, no, not the package ID.
Oops.
Yeah. Here's an important thing. That has to be increasing, and you can't put a NuGet package up there twice with the same version.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it will give you an error if you try to. So it's, it won't explode.
Yeah, I'm just going to stick that with 0.1 for now.
Yep.
While I'm playing with it. I am going to figure out how to get NuGet to update that for you using semantic versioning.
Yep. You can do that probably in the build script that we're going to be looking at in a little bit. Yeah. I don't think author is the assembly name.
No, it's not, is it?
That could be either your Stacy Clouds or Stacy Cashmore. I would go for Cashmore. Yeah. Company might be Stacy Clouds, though. Here's a product name.
The same.
That's fine.
Description.
This is the description that will show up in the NuGet package manager itself.
Yeah. Naming is hard and descriptions are hard.
Yeah.
A library of functions to use Blazor and .NET Azure functions with Azure Static Web App application and
This I find easier to do directly in the project file. Everything we're doing now is going to end up in the project file. But I mean, I did it this way as well. I write a short version here, and then if I want to write something bigger, I will do that in the file itself. Yeah. Copyright, do you have a copyright? All of these now are optional.
Okay. Does it need a?
I would put a link to the GitHub here.
Yeah.
It's going to be one more time, I believe, as well. No, that's the blog demo.
That's the blog demo. That's not the right one, is it?
We actually want to go to the organization, right?
I do want to go to the organization.
And here we go.
Oakley dokley.
Yeah. Icon, who cares?
Yes, with a question mark?
Or yes, what?
Yes. I think I'm missing the context there, Jimmy. Icon, I will add at some point. I've just scrolled down too far, haven't I?
Then you, go up. So we had project URL down there.
Yeah,
icon, that's if you want something special, you can have a link to the README file. It's a bit weird because the README file ends up on the NuGet website.
Right.
But the description ends up in the browser. Yeah.
What is the difference?
Repository URL
is that
can
the
be
same?
the same. Yeah. I mean, project URL could be, if you have an entire website.
Right. Okay.
Dedicated to it. So
default is Git, so I don't need to fill that one, I assume.
Tags is just for searchability. So maybe SVA, Blazor, Azure Function, Lovely Human.
Can they have spaces in?
I believe so.
But not there.
It needs to be semicolon delimited.
Oh, come on, Stacey, learn to type.
I've actually done that mistake as well. Release notes is per time that you do a release. I don't do that. It is not a tool.
Nope.
The next step here, if you go up again, is where to put the package file. I don't like having that in the output path. If we look at the structure, the folder structure of your project, can you bring up the Explorer? This is from the project itself. So I would go up one step. From there, I would go up one step and then do a PKG folder. So we'd get a PKG in here.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So /PKG.
Yeah.
Yep. And if you tab there, it should update that text as well. Might need to be a /. I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to look in mine. No, I use a / in mine. But it doesn't give me a preview, so...
Okay, fine. We'll leave that one then.
Yeah.
Assembly neutral language.
Doesn't matter. Assembly version reads from the other side. That's if you have different versioning. And then license. I do MIT. Or sorry, no, embedded file. And then add the license file to that. Most of these that we've done now are optional, but I think you should have them. And do you want them? Do you want to prompt it? You need to accept MIT, or do you just want to? Yeah, here's the license file. Read it if you want to.
Context switch to dark mode.
Jimmy.
And a meeting, so you got to run. So if you're running away, I don't need to switch to dark mode.
Yeah, perfect. Or horrible.
Thank you, Jimmy. Have a good afternoon.
All right, so this should be the settings that we need on the project to create a NuGet package. So if you save this,
Yeah,
if you haven't
and
already,
then push that up.
then right-click. No, start out with going to solution. Right-click the project, not solution, but right-click that and do pack. So it's
You want to check
building.
it works first, don't you?
It succeeded. Yes. Now open up the Explorer that we had again, and you should have a PKG folder in there.
I do have a PKG folder in there.
And that should contain a new
Nice.
package. Awesome.
Woo!
Love it.
So
All right, now we can
push these
upload it.
changes up.
Yeah.
Add package info to project. Commit all and push. And then if we go back to here, hey, look, we have a
working thingy.
So if we go to my README then.
Yeah. Yes, write a README for this project.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
It's like open your Blazor, add the NuGet package. So that line is a lie, right?
That line's a lie.
Configures, yeah.
You know what?
And it says your username as well.
I don't have the wiki yet, but I can do the whole that.
And then some examples of how to add it. Not sure if this is correct.
That is not correct.
Nope.
So that one, we will cheat and just do a nice little
to do.
To do.
Yeah.
And that one's also not.
Nope.
Contributing, yeah, I don't have that file yet, but I've got to do it. That one should be Stacy Cloud, and it.
Yeah, you have one under. You have one under the contributions as well. Your username, I mean.
Ah, right.
And I tend to not put my email anywhere public.
Yes, I try not to.
That way lies tons of spam. It's not secret in any way, but having it written out on the internet is, yeah. Been there, done that, got all of the you've won money, just send us all your information and some money to get your money. Yeah. Hey, you're ahead of me now. I would actually do this inside of Studio.
You would?
Yeah. Because Studio has help.
It does?
It knows the format.
Let's give that one a try then.
Yeah. And if we want to cheat the whole way, you know, we can ask Copilot.
That's also true.
I wouldn't this time because we want to go through it and figure out what the heck is going on, but it is possible to ask Copilot.
So I'm guessing I need to add a solution item here then, do I?
Yeah. I'd create the folder first manually in the Explorer.github and /workflow. And then I add a file in that folder from. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. No, I don't want a new tab.
Did we check in PKG, by the way?
No.
No, good. And then the workflows. Great. Now we want a solution item folder. No, in Studio. We'll do the rest in Studio now. So create a solution folder. Let's call it workflows. And right-click, add new file.
Add new file?
Yeah. And do show all templates so we can decide where to put it. I think. Can't we?
No.
Nope.
That's why I was going to
Right.
create it outside and then add an existing
Create
item.
a file and add it. You are way smarter than me. Way ahead. So this is going to be, we can call it whatever. I call it continuous deployment.yaml or CD or CI or whatever. CI and CD are different things.
They are. So my brain is being melted by that music.
Yeah, I have both. So a CI works on all pull requests.
Yeah.
And a CD that are triggered manually. But that can be for later. They are very, they have a lot of stuff shared, right?
Yeah.
We're in this file. And now we should get help when we start typing. So if you start out with name : and we want a readable name, I call it continuous deployment. This is what's going to show up in GitHub. And we need a trigger, so that's on. No, on. Colon and new line. See, it's trying to help. No, we want to do this manually. Because we only want to deploy when we tell it to deploy, right?
Oh, this is a deployment one, yeah. So we want this to be on
workflow dispatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't need anything in there. And then we're going to create the jobs.
Yep. So.
Yep. And here's another thing. Since we have an artifact here, I do not like having multiple jobs for this.
Yeah.
Because we're going to be sending artifacts back and forth between jobs. So I just do a single one. I'll call it build and deploy.
Yeah, I can go with that one.
Don't accept what it's asking you to, because it's actually wrong as well. Yeah. And then we want a runs on.
Should that be indented again?
Yeah. Everything from now is inside of build and deploy, right? So runs minus on. Doesn't it have that?
Nope.
No, it doesn't. All right. So that's
why don't you like
Ubuntu latest for me. I don't know. It likes it on my end. And one more. And now it's no longer complaining.
It was complaining because my tabs are tabs.
All right. So let's blame YAML.
Yeah. YAML sucks.
Yeah. And then we need steps. So I'd say that the first step is getting our code, right? So this is almost correct. First of all, you need to indent uses. And then we want version 4. Because otherwise it's going to be complaining. Yeah, it's going to be complaining about old Node.js versions otherwise. We want to set up .NET. And yeah, you can include that, and then we're going to modify it. There, we want version 4 of this as well, and .NET version 8. And I think you said no, you only said O, right? So remove the .x or keep it. Yeah, all right. Next name, build.
Build?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I'm going to let you guess what this is going to do.
Aha.
Yeah.
Do I need to publish or do I need to pack?
You need a configuration release to always force it to release on the build command, right? Now, here's the thing that I'm not 100% certain about, but we want to read the environment key now.
Ah, yes, we do, don't we?
Yeah. So that would be env.
But we can do that inside of the step where we're pushing.
Actually, I don't think we need this, right?
I think we
Just
just
go
need
to the next
pack,
step.
don't
Just
we?
go to the next step and see what happens. So we're going to do a publish. Publish to NuGet. And we'll see if it works.
Do you
I
publish?
don't, since we're reading directly from the secrets. So a new name, a new step.
Sorry?
We have an artifact. So let me check one thing, by the way, in my config here.
Okay, so I do need to pack it first.
I'm looking in my notes here.
Secret NuGet API.
I don't think so, because I think the next step is going to pack it for you. No, I have previewed a package file during build operations set on my build. So you could actually go back into the project settings and add that as well. Just to make, if you go to properties, and then under package.
Hello there,
Hey,
Napalm
Napalm.
Codes. How's it going? Thank you for joining us.
You jump down to package. And the top checkbox there. Produce a package file during build operations.
Okay, fine.
Since we always want to generate the package anyways, it's what
Yeah.
we're doing here. So, yeah. And I mean, you're very close there. What we want to do is we want to do a NuGet push, but we want to find the file.
Yeah.
And we put our file in from the root folder /pkg, right?
Yeah.
And then everything dot new pkg under there. So just
what?
a star. Source is correct. That is the API. That's where we're pushing to.
And I believe that is my API key.
Yeah.
I believe that's what I called it. Let me check.
If you want to show this, it's not going to show your API key. It's just going to show that there's a setting with this name. If you set it as a secret. So you could show people how to do it as well. There is a organizational secret down there, but it's not going to show it. So
yeah,
there you go.
There we go. NuGet API key.
I have never used that, but if it falls up, falls down, whatever, to the secrets list, then we're going.
Yeah, but this is what I use all of the time for my talks. Let me grab. Where are my secrets? I know I have secrets in here. Or is that in a different one?
IC should probably be using some kind of secret to authenticate.
There you go, Cosmos endpoint.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just secrets and then the endpoint. So this should work fine.
Yep.
So is this
that's
all
it.
we need?
Yep. We are done. So if you push this, yeah, save it.
What do I want to save for?
Here we go. Because the CD file contained changes that weren't saved. So now we're going to go back to there, yeah, and to actions. We have a continuous deployment and we have a run workflow. For my small project that I built last Monday, this took 23 seconds.
Okay.
So it's not slow. And I mean, building this doesn't take a long time, right?
No, this is tiny.
Right now it's queued, I believe. And now it's running and it's building. And it's building. I think this is the long step. Yeah, it's because it's restoring a bunch of packages, I think. Even though that took 1.5 seconds, but it had to contact out and all of that.
We have
There.
a warning.
We're pushing. We got a warning about a README missing. That's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But we can deal with that. And you're done. If you head back to NuGet, here's the thing. It's not indexed yet. So you have to be signed in as you for another couple of minutes.
I'm just going to sign in on a different screen.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. And you go to Packages, Manage Packages. And you have an unlisted package there, which is SWA Auth.
Awesome.
That will automatically become published. They are running some, I think it's called statistical analysis.
Yeah.
They're looking to make sure you're not uploading something that doesn't RF / no server root. So it's like, yeah, is this sane, or are you trolling people and trying to destroy their lives?
Yes.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to wait for that one to go. Let's just go back to the chat room a minute. If you're running Cosmos, you must be driving in Bugatti. No, it's really Cosmos has different ways. Yeah, I run Cosmos because it's cheaper than running SQL.
Yeah, it's cheap until a point, and if you reach that point, you're hopefully making enough money to pay for it.
Yeah, if you reach that point, either you're doing something very wrong or you're very happy and don't care.
Yeah, and then there's people like Fritz building Tags app and like grabbing millions of records off of the internet and making no money. In that case, Cosmos is very expensive. I think he reached a bill of like $1,000 a month or something on that. Which, I mean, it sucks, but we're talking many millions of records, I think, a day. So
you can do, I think you get 25 gigs storage on the free tier, and 4,000 RUs.
Yeah.
So it's...
And Napalm, I can see the issue you have. It is the from the end, 5th and 4th word. Just be civilized and use Windows.
Yes.
Heck,
I wonder why the emulator doesn't work though, because the emulator itself won't run on Mac, but it is containerized, so you should be able to run the container on a Mac.
Are we still using Azure, or am I like really old?
Still using. I disagree respectfully.
Yeah, I agree with you, Stace.
I love my Mac. I have Mac, Linux, and Windows, and I love the Mac for some stuff, but I don't actually enjoy it for development. The screen isn't good enough. It's too small, and I don't know. Maybe I'm just too used to Windows. That could also be a difficult.
Yeah, I think that's my issue. Now, let's do some recursion. Let's go into Studio again.
Yep.
And right-click your project and select Manage NuGet Packages. Go to Browse.
Yeah.
And just type SWA Auth. Now we're recursion. A library of functions to use Blazor and Net Azure function with Azure Static Web Apps, authentication and authorization. You are done.
I love it. Now
it wasn't that bad, right?
No, it wasn't that bad.
No.
Now I can actually make it do some cool stuff.
Yeah, if you want to do a CI workflow, I would basically copy that file, remove the NuGet push, and change that to a .NET test.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That one I'm going to do. I'm going to add some test files. There's not that much to test here, but there's definitely some good stuff to test.
I would also go over your project, look at the classes, and see what you can make internal.
Yeah.
I like internal because internal is visible to your project file.
Yeah.
But you want to leave as little as possible public, because all of this is going to show
theory,
up in.
That one should be public. That's fine. That one has to be
and
public,
that should
obviously.
Be public.
And that one has to be public.
And do you need all of the methods to be public?
No, that one can be private.
No, it
that
can't.
One can't be private. Oh, it's override.
It's an override. So, yeah. Do you have anything in here? No, that's private. That's private.
That's private. No, that's
awesome.
fine.
And in models, I think you just had data, right? Does this need? Do you need authentication data with client principal to be public?
No.
You might want to know what the user is logged in as, but that's the client principal that you use, right?
That one can be internal.
Yeah, but client principal
has to be public.
Yeah, and that means that
SWA claims has to be public.
Yeah.
So I
Why
think
is that called
that's kind of
TYP instead of type and val instead of value? Is that required?
That's Microsoft.
All right, it's required. It has to be that way.
It's there. I could put
JSON serialization.
Yeah, but I really hate that. So
yeah, gotcha.
This is just what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. I try to build my models after the actual JSON.
Yeah, unless the JSON is really annoying, I do the same.
Yeah.
So for my website, for the blog posts, that I changed because they were so awful. It made my eyes hurt. So for that one, I changed it just for that reason. But for the rest of it, no. It's if it doesn't make my eyes hurt too much, I live with it.
Yeah. So now that we made a modification, a change.
Yep.
Let's jump into the file there, the properties.
Can we do this in properties, or can we just do this?
Yeah, we can do it right there. Absolutely. Version 0.1. Awesome. Save it. Push it.
What did we change?
And you can see that you have the description there as well.
How do you get
internalized?
How do you get the description from Copilot? I've forgotten.
It's the icon in the bottom right of the text box itself. There we go. There might be a keyboard shortcut. I don't know it. I have one issue with this, and that is that it actually finds everything, which means that if you have any amount of stuff, it's going to be talking a lot.
Yes.
But for this case, I mean, it's perfect. You up the version, and you changed it to be internal.
Yep, I will live with that.
Yeah.
And then we can go back to our...
One thing you can do here, one more thing, is you can set the change log on it as well. And that will show up in...
How do I set the change log?
If you look, I'm not sure if it's in the project file since we haven't set it, but it's in the properties at least. Yeah. First of all, you can see the description there. So I usually update it here. That can be multi-line here, so it's way easier. If you go to properties,
makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. And if you scroll down like a long bit, you have a changelog field as well. Release notes is what I meant.
Right.
There. Don't really need it. I pretty much never use it. I put information in my README about what updates I have done.
Yep.
Instead.
That kind of makes sense.
Yeah. It's up to you. So now we can jump on, it's pushed, right?
It's pushed.
Yeah, so we can jump on over to GitHub again.
Here, go back to my actions.
And rerun it. It will take a second. There we go. And this will do the same thing. It'll stay unlisted for a bit while it's being checked so that you're not being a poo-poo. And then it'll go listed in public and you can update it from Studio.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. He says see, it took 18 seconds this time. From start and 26 from time it started working. If you just update this page, it didn't find the README file for some reason. Now you have one published package, right? But that's still the old version. if you go in there now, if you manage the package, we should have somewhere a thingamajig. No?
Nope.
No. If you go back to the actual package page, then. All right, let's just wait a moment.
There we go.
Shall we? There.
If you go to versions, then you can see the validating and the listed.
Yeah, awesome. So now it's being validated. Once it's done, it'll be listed, and you will have 2 versions in your studio when you look at the package. And as you saw, you can invalidate and remove an old version if it contains like a serious bug or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
I mean, we got this done in less than an hour.
Yeah, and talking through most of it.
Yeah, we went into fairly much detail about how to do it and what's happening. So this is not difficult. And building a tool is the same thing, only you want it to be a console application.
Yep.
And you want to check that little box saying this is a tool.
Yeah.
And then you can do .NET tool install whatever. And that's how you install Bacon, for example.
Yes.
Which you might not have installed because that's totally random and unnecessary.
I think I have that installed on my laptop. I don't think I have that installed on this machine.
It's very not important. I would say they should really install NoDocs, though. If you stream from this machine.
I think I have that installed on the laptop too.
If you stream from this, use NoDocs.
Yes, I will.
See, I'm plugging my own stuff here, but
it's a good thing to plug. Make sure you install NoDocs, people.
Yeah.
Let's bring us back up to full size. Ta-da! I can see you much more clearly now.
Yeah, same here. Same here. I can see myself.
I can't see you on. I've got the Twitch preview going. It is a nightmare because it's on a HDR screen. Now, for some reason, YouTube copes, StreamYard copes, Twitch completely washes out all of the colors because I don't have HDR turned on, but it thinks it's HDR. Yeah,
you're really washed out. And I have a really intense shadow on this side, on Twitch. While on StreamYard, it looks fine.
Yeah, okay, then it might just be Twitch. Who knows? Twitch was giving me issues. So if you're watching on Twitch and it looks awful, I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
I think on that
note, start to finish, I think we got it done.
I think we're done. I want to thank you so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thank you for having me. What we're missing right now is tests.
Yes.
I like having tests for NuGet packages.
Oh, there's going to be tests.
Yeah. And other than that, we're good.
There's tests and there's one more bit of functionality that I want to add. When you go to custom authentication.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe some documentation as well. What's happening?
My monitor is showing stuff. But apparently it thinks there's nothing on screen because it's saying, okay, I'm going to turn off in a minute. All
right. That's weird.
It is just not my day for technology.
No, your tech is weird. Do a reboot. Do a reboot.
But when you do custom authentication in a static web app, you need to add a function to create your roles.
Yeah.
So you have your own, you manage this yourself. It is an absolute nightmare to code. Once you got it working, it's fine. It's easy. Getting it working, that is the hard part.
So what I want to add, and basic documentation in the README on this as well would be awesome.
More than that, I want to add the function to this, and I want to inject a role manager so that users or people using the project don't have to do any of that. They just get in a client principal and they spit out an IEnumerable of roles. So they have a really easy one, which they can then really easily test, and my code takes care of the rest.
So I can't just set your user to be Stacy herself, and that will create a role and work straight in the Azure portal.
It doesn't come into if you're on the custom auth authentication,
Oh,
the
custom.
portal stops being used full stop.
Yeah. But if you're on the built-in authentication, then you can just
Yeah.
set a role in there, and that will
Yeah.
roll over.
If
right?
you're on the built-in one, then that just happens there.
Awesome. Yeah, so documented. We had an issue where it couldn't find the README file.
I'll sort that one at
See if
some
you can
point.
figure that out. Yeah.
Yes.
And other than that, we're good.
Yeah, on that note, I want to say thank you very much. I want to say thank you to everyone for joining us today. And yeah, until next time, I'm now going to recover from this so that I can go to Azure Lowlands tomorrow and see lots more Azure content. See you
Have
later,
a wonderful,
everybody.
everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.